Hi, this is Helen, and today I've been meeting with Becky. It's her first day of work in her new role as a social prescribing link worker, and we've been working together to look at what the process could be and what our actions need to be emerging from that. So of course all link working starts with a referral, and for Becky the referrals will come from either the the 3 teams in Wigan have a weekly team meeting, and as part of that is a Living Well at Home board. And that looks at, for every person we support, are they on track, off track, or way off track? And one of the reasons that they might be off track might be to do with loneliness or isolation or lack of purpose, and that would be an ideal reason to refer them for Becky. Or they might come from the social workers or other professionals, and Becky will be meeting with them on a regular basis. Now, if it's somebody we already support, we will have already had the what matters conversation with the person and know about their history. But Becky will then take that further by looking at what a good day at home looks like, a good day in the community looks like, and also thinking with people about their gifts and contributions. And we've already developed some resources to help us do that. So we have Getting Together for More Good Days, which is things that can happen in the community to enable people to have a good life. Activities in the home, garden and community, so other things that people might want to do, and we're developing a resource library to help people have more interesting days at home as well as part of the community, and thinking about capacities and contributions with gifts of the head, heart and hands. So that's the conversation that Becky will have with people. From that, she will work with people to identify their personal priority. So what is the most important thing that the person wants to do to be part of their community? Because of course the purpose of wellbeing teams is support people to live well at home and be part of their community, and Becky's role will really make sure that happens. So as well as identifying their personal priority, we'll want them to evaluate with us how well they think they're doing that on a scale of 1 to 10. So if, for example, what the person really wanted to do was to, for example, go knitting once a week, then 10, what success looked like to them might be knitting once a week, and where they are now might be a 1, not doing it at all, so that we can work with people to personally identify what success means to them and how well we know how we're doing. We've been looking at how social prescribers evaluate what they're doing, and a lot of people use the shortened SWEM web, and we'll be looking at introducing that into the way we work as well. And we also have existing things that we're doing in the community, like the Knit and Natter group, like the Dominoes group, like gardening. So Becky can also introduce to people the other things that are available. And we have a resource library with low-tech things like jigsaws, right through to using Amazon Alexa. And Becky and I debated whether you'd introduce the brochure straight away or whether you'd work with the person to identify their priorities. And we're going to test out, starting with Good Days at Home in the community and gifts and contributions, to identify their priorities, and then look at what else and see how that works for us. That will then help us think about transport, money, whether we need to look at a reassessment from social work if there's strong evidence that this might be worth incorporating to the person's assessed outcomes. Becky will update the person's care and support plan. We have a list for every visit that we do, and it might mean that things need to change there. And most importantly, have conversations with their link worker. This is the wellbeing worker who's the person who's most connected to them, and make sure everybody who's supporting that person is aware of what we're doing. So the next step, Becky will identify, based on the person's personal priority, whether there are already community groups that exist locally that she can connect people to. And if the answer to that is yes, if there is an existing group, then the question is, what support would the person need to get there? Who would be the best person to support them to get there? And when does the group happen? And how can we make sure that happens? So this might be the person's existing link wellbeing worker. It might be Becky herself who supports the person to get to the event or activity or community opportunity. Or it could be a team member who shares the same interest, because we also find out from team members what their passions are and their gifts of the head, heart and hands, so that we can match them. If there isn't an existing opportunity, we'd look at, is there a way to do this with another person who shares the same interest, or could we start our own group in the way that we have with other groups? If that requires money, can we apply for a small grant, or could we find a business to sponsor us? And if we are starting our own group, that would then be part of our brochure that we'd share with everybody. And then it comes to review. So team members do monthly check-ins with each individual we support, and this would automatically get included in the monthly check-ins. We'd also be reviewing it at team meetings with the Living Well at Home board that I mentioned earlier. And every 6 months we do a person-centred review. Becky would automatically be part of that, so that then she can return with the person to checking out whether the personal priority is still the top one for the person, where they are on the scale of 1 to 10, and go back to our way of evaluating it with SWEMweb. So that's how we're thinking of starting with social prescribing in wellbeing teams, with Becky being our very first link wellbeing worker. I'm sure there's lots to learn and lots that we'll end up doing differently, but this is our first attempt at introducing it.